Before we get into this latest story, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. After interactive intoxication comes social media moderation. Fellow imbibers, you know the feeling. The morning after the night before. Okay, it was good fun, but did I have to binge so much? When the hangover is particularly bad, the hair of the dog feels like the best, nay only cure. Or so we convince ourselves. And sometimes this does indeed do the trick, mentally at least. A few more doses of the poison that had done the initial damage, some rest, and we are our regular selves again. Until the next time. Anecdotally speaking, and from the odd personal experience, I'm usually good at not going over my limit these days, hangovers tend to be worse the older one gets, from roughly mid-30s onwards. Equally worse is the beer blues, that uncomfortable feeling of self-reproach when one has drunk to excess. What often follows is a determination to go sober for a time. Some manage to do this for weeks or even months, especially if their last booze session ended badly. Others kick the habit completely. I wouldn't mind going months without beer. My problem, or my excuse if you will, is my unsettled lifestyle together with the country I'm in. Drinking out in standard tiendas in Colombia is one of the cheapest socialising pursuits on offer.
Brendan in Colombia says, as regards to drinking, I'm currently based in Colombia where I find it hard to go consecutive days without having a few beers. It's one of the cheapest things one can do to socialise. I know it might be a lame excuse, but beer here is cheap compared to other pursuits. When I go back to Ireland, I can easily go a couple of weeks without touching a drop of alcohol.
So, come 6 or 7 o'clock of an evening, the temptation for some tienda beer time is strong. If only there were decent, more readily available zero-alcohol brews in such tiendas. Would I drink them, though? Is it the alcohol-fueled sensation I'm after, or merely the social setting? Whatever the case, I've been more conscious of my Colombian beer consumption of late and have tried to cut back. Again, I say Colombia because the last time I was back in Ireland, I quite easily went weeks without any alcohol. Largely for the price reason already mentioned, I find it harder to not drink in these parts. Also, in Ireland, I tend to have more non-beer related activities with which to occupy my time. In fairness, I've always had a love-hate relationship with drinking, yet I feel I'm now more sincere, if not too successful, in my efforts to drink less. That I've just entered my 40s plays a part in this, no doubt. I may be becoming slightly more sensible. That's the hope. I get the same vibe shift, to use the phrase of the current zeitgeist, in not only my relationship with social media, but also that of many other people. It's like there's a collective middle-aged style questioning of our online behaviour, particularly with what I consider to be the more pathetic and vain platforms, Facebook and Instagram. Those meta monsters are akin to cheesy daytime TV, dealing in lifestyle affairs, albeit Instagram does have a worrying mild porn side to it. Elon Musk's X is of the late-night, heated political debate variety, swinging from the astute to the absurd. In case you're wondering, I'm not on TikTok and have no intentions of doing so. Ditto with Blue Sky. In the early days of interactive intoxication, the average Facebook or Instagram user, that is one whose content sharing is not done with the aim of generating income either directly or indirectly, went on a post-blitz. This appears to have waned of late. Many are now adopting a more considered approach. In reveling terms, social media use 15 or so years ago was like downing Jaeger bombs in the nightclub following an already heavy evening in the pub. It usually led to sloppy public displays of affection or ill-advised encounters of the brutish kind, or sometimes both. These days, it's more in the style of a quiet drink or two at the local, a reserved affair. I can imagine those who follow me on Facebook or Instagram reviewing my recent activity and thinking that I'm still in the blitz phase. In my defence, the chief reason I continue to use social media is to share the content I create, hoping, in vain, to drive more traffic to my blog as well as to my Spotify and YouTube channels. Even with posts that aren't directly linked to my online material, the idea is that more interaction is better than the opposite in this gig. Or, as I'm wont to say, it's better to be a known loser than an unknown one. I know, one can reasonably ask what's the point when, after over 13 years, all my blogs, vlogs and podcasts haven't returned me even a penny in income. I could waste time on worse things, though, couldn't I? The other side to this, of course, is that I could spend my time on more wholesome pursuits. What's more, alongside the changes in netizens' interactions with social media, the platforms themselves have evolved as both they and regulators try to find safer ways to operate. This evolution has boosted further the voice and influence of the haves, while simultaneously weakening more so the role of the have-nots. This is the exact opposite of the fanciful vision that Facebook et al. Had at their inception. Aiming to empower the proles has merely resulted in giving greater power to the plutocrats. Plus ça change. Added to this, the younger generations who grew up with social media are less hung up about it all. In the same way that Gen Z, or Zoomers as they're also called, in some high-income nations are drinking less alcohol compared to their predecessors, these younger folk are more inclined to be voyeurs rather than active participants on Facebook and Instagram. This is not to say that theirs is a healthier way. It's just that they tend to get their kicks via different interactive engagements, similar to Ireland's Zoomers cozying up to cocaine as they down less alcohol. Or, more positively, as has been suggested elsewhere, they use Facebook less as a platform to share personal moments and to socialise virtually, but more as a source of gathering and sharing information via groups and such like. So as we older generations rethink our relationship with social media, it needn't be a case of complete abstinence. Then again, just as health experts advise about alcohol, the safest amount of online socialising might be zero.
By drinking a lot of water, I like to think I cancel the alcohol out somewhat, but I figure that's wishful thinking, is it?
It is wishful thinking. All your liver is interested in is the amount of alcohol it sees. It has to metabolise it, so you can't protect yourself against that effect. If the alcohol's in the system, your liver's exposed to it.
And if forced to continue with just one of the two poisons, I'd opt for the liquid kind. Have you subscribed to this channel yet? If not, why not do so right now? It's free and only takes a second. Thanks!